Hello everyone, I am Dr. Nilanjana Bhattacharya Nath from Swami Vivekananda Institute of Modern Science. Today my topic is membrane transport. In this video, I shall discuss about different types of membrane transport, especially the passive transport system. So first, what is membrane transport? One of the great wonders of the cell membrane is its ability to regulate the concentration of substances inside the cell. These substances include ions such as calcium ion, sodium ion, potassium ion and chlorine ion. Nutrients including sugars, fatty acids and amino acids, and obviously the waste products, particularly carbon dioxide, which must leave the cell. All substances that move through the membrane by two general methods, which are categorized based on whether or not energy is required. So number one, passive transport is the movement of substances across the membrane without the expenditure of the cellular energy. And second one is active transport, which is the movement of substances across the membrane using energy from ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. And in this video, I will be discussing the details of passive transport system. So what is passive transport? In order to understand how substances move passively across a cell membrane, it is necessary to understand concentration gradients and the basic concept of diffusion. A concentration gradient is the difference in concentration of a substance across a space. Molecules or ions will spread or diffuse from where they are more concentrated to where they are less concentrated until they are equally distributed in that space. Three common types of passive transport include simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and osmosis. So next, the simple diffusion process. Simple diffusion is the transport or movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration without using energy. In this process, molecules simply diffuses through the pore of cell membrane. Simple diffusion do not require any carrier protein. When the concentration of molecules is different inside and outside of the cell membrane, concentration gradient is established. Then the molecules moves from higher concentration to lower concentration until equilibrium is maintained. When the concentration of molecules become equal on both sides of the membrane, transport process stops. Consider substances that can easily diffuse through the lipid bilayer of the cell membrane, such as oxygen and carbon dioxide transport. Oxygen will diffuse from the interstitial fluid directly through the lipid bilayer of the membrane and into the cytoplasm within the cell. On the other hand, because cells produce carbon dioxide as a byproduct of metabolism, carbon dioxide concentrations rise within the cytoplasm. So it is obvious carbon dioxide transport will take place from inside the cell to the outside. Next, the second type of passive transport, that is facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion is the diffusion process used for those substances that cannot cross the lipid bilayer due to their size and their polarity. A common example of this diffusion is the movement of glucose into the cell, where it is used to make ATP. Although glucose can more concentrated outside of a cell, it cannot cross the lipid bilayer via simple diffusion because it is both large and polar. To resolve this problem, a specialized carrier protein called the glucose transporter will transfer glucose molecules into the cell to facilitate its inward diffusion. There are many other solutes that must undergo facilitated diffusion to move into a cell, such as amino acids, or to move out of a cell, such as different wastes. Because facilitated diffusion is a passive process, it does not require any energy. Many factors can affect the diffusion rate, such as concentration gradient, diffusing particle size, and the system's temperature. The integral proteins involved in facilitated transport are transport proteins, and they function as either channel protein or the carrier protein. In both the cases, they are transmembrane proteins. Channels are specific for the transported substance. Channel proteins have hydrophilic domains exposed to the intracellular and extracellular fluids. Another type of protein embedded in the plasma membrane is carrier protein. This protein binds a substance and thus triggers a change in its own shape, moving the bound molecule from the cell's outside to its interior. Channel proteins transport much more quickly than the carrier proteins. Channel proteins facilitate diffusion at a rate of tens of millions of molecules per second, whereas carrier proteins work at a rate of 1,000 to 1,000,000 molecules per second. Next, osmosis. Osmosis is the diffusion of water through a semi-permeable membrane down its concentration gradient. If a membrane is permeable to water, though not to a solute, water will equalize its own concentration by diffusing to the side of lower water concentration. Solutes within a solution create osmotic pressure that pulls water. Osmosis occurs when there is an imbalance of solutes outside of a cell versus inside the cell. The more solute a solution contains, the greater the osmotic pressure that solution will have. A solution that has a higher concentration of solutes than the other, it is said to be hypertonic. Water molecules tend to diffuse into a hypertonic solution because the higher osmotic pressure pulls water. If a cell is placed in a hypertonic solution, the cells will shrivel or crenate as water leaves the cell via osmosis. In contrast, a solution that has a lower concentration of solutes than other, it is said to be hypotonic. Cells in a hypotonic solution will take on too much water and swell with the risk of eventually bursting, a process known as cell lysis. A critical aspect of homeostasis in living things is to create an internal environment in which all of the body's cells are in an isotonic solution, an environment in which two solutions have the same concentration of solutes. That means they are having equal osmotic pressure. When cells and their extracellular environments are isotonic, the concentration of water molecules is the same outside and the inside the cells. So water flows both in and out, and the cells maintain their normal shape as well as their overall function. Last, the significance of passive transport. In living systems, the plasma membrane mediates substances diffusing in and out of cells. Some materials diffuse readily through the membrane, but others are hindered and only can pass through due to specialized proteins such as channels and transporters. As cells proceed through their life cycle, a vast amount of exchange is necessary to maintain function. For example, distribution of essential nutrients in the body, excretion of metabolic waste products, and exchange of gases. Passive membrane transport is essential for all these physiological processes as well as the cellular life. Thank you.